We're very much honored to have Dr. Steve Liang with us today. And Dr. Liang is an esteemed researcher and entrepreneur in the sensor network and Internet of Things. So Steve will give his talks under the title of Empowering the Workforce of the Future with the Geospatial IoT and AI. I'm going to briefly introduce Steve. Steve is a founder and a CTO of SensorUp, a geomatics startup raised more than $8 million to date. SensorUp develops a NATO award-winning movement intelligence platform that interconnects the world's IoT data, empowering the workforce of future. Dr. Liang is a global influencer on the IoT, and he's a working group chair of several international standard working group of Open Geospatial Consortium and United Nations ITUT. So Dr. Liang is also professor and Rogers Internet of Things Research Chair at the Departments of Geomatics Engineering at the University of Calgary, a recipient of numerous awards such as Calgary's Top 40 Under 40, Killam Emerging Research Leader Award, and more. So he lived on York campus for 5 years and 8 months and met his wife at York University and had more than 500 kebab dinners after 12 a.m. at York Lane, and finally received his PhD in 2007 from GeoIC Lab at York University, which I am directing now. So prepare yourself to be challenged, excited, and inspired. And before I hand over to Steve, I would like to thank Afnan Ahmed and Mercedes Botain, Melissa Abraham, for helping me to organize this event. And I want to say once more on behalf of the Geomatics Engine Program and CI's Toronto branch, welcome. It's wonderful to see so many of you here.
Good afternoon, everybody. And then thanks for joining us today. And it's really my honor and pleasure to give a talk at the GeoTalk at York U. And it really reminded me a lot of a memory I had when I was on campus, right? The kebab dinner I really enjoy. And then, yeah, it's really nice. And then I live on campus for so long, right? And also met my wife there. Okay. So, but I wish I could do it in person, right? But I cannot. Right now, we are all locked up in our basement or somewhere and with the fake background. Yeah, but yeah, it's how it is right now. So today I'm going to share something I'm really passionate about, and then, about geomatics, but also my research and my venture. And then especially I'll try to get close to the situation today, which is COVID. A little bit by myself. I'm a founder and CTO of SensorUp. I started my own company, and actually it's interesting, right? Gong Ho used my company title in the promotion of the event, so I guess the company title is more interesting. I'm also a professor. I'm still a professor, although I almost quit it. And then I'm the Rogers IoT research chair. So really thank Rogers to support my research program to build a world-class Internet of Things and 5G research lab at the University of Calgary. I'm a lab scientist at Creative Destruction Lab. And I got my undergrad actually is from geomatics. It's a geomatics engineering from NCKU in Taiwan. And then in 2002, I came to York to do my master and switch to PhD in the Earth and Space Science. I remember the first day I arrived at the GeoIT lab, there was no chair, no desk. It's just one postdoc sitting on a computer box. And then we'd start to put things together. It's a really very interesting memory for me. I really miss those days, right? About my company, so I founded my company in 2011. It was a romantic thought. So we registered the company in a registry with my wife and didn't know what I get myself into. And from 2011 to 2014, almost nothing happened. So basically, I was working on the side to save some money and see if I can one day I can hire an employee to do this company. But after 14, we have the first customer, and then it's Lockheed Martin. So it was quite nice. A large company came to us and then sign a check to me is like $200,000 US, and the company owns the IP. I was like, doing business is easy, yeah. So somebody just signed a big check to me. But anyways, it's quite tough, right? But in 2018, we raised our seed round of financing, $2 million. and then start to be, start in the different mode to grow. And just 3 months ago, we closed our Series A of more than $6 million. And the investors, including some venture capital, but one of our major backer of the company is Synovus and Suncor, two of the largest energy companies in Canada. And then our customers, including U.S. Department of Homeland Security, NASA, Candu-Rail, some oil and gas companies, and more. Yeah, it's about my company, and it's an interesting journey. So feel free to ask me any question about my company later. It's quite interesting. Also, actually, doing this company, the journey, I was able to meet a lot of, one of the smartest people I ever know, right? Our board member, for example, our chairman, Paul Lee, he's the chair of D-Wave. It's the quantum computer company, D-Wave. So I share the chairman with D-Wave. I'm like, something I can brag about. And VanEdge also invest in SpaceX, for example. So very honored. And the other board member, Marty Reed, successful entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. And the other board advisor, soon be our board member, is Greg Wolf. And then very well-known person. He's exited his previous company for $4.4 billion. So it's very, I was able to, by doing this journey, exposed me to a very different world. I'm very, very excited. Okay, so talk about research or IoT, Internet of Things. So basically sensors are everywhere. They will be everywhere. They're already everywhere. And actually a while ago, 2 years ago, I spent about half time in Silicon Valley and met a lot of startup companies, right? This is one of the companies I met. They make your wall becoming a sensor. So when we say if the wall can be a sensor, and I think we can safely say sensors are already everywhere. They are embedded in everyday objects, right? So every object right now you can see, there will be, or they already have sensors in them and connect to the internet. So what does that mean? So what? That means actually, there's no information gap. There's unprecedented visibility. Whatever you want to know, you should be able to know because sensors are everywhere. The question is done by you or to you. So of course, there are sensors for kitty poops, right? So if kitty poops, right? There are sensors for your kitty. And I'm pretty sure there'll be sensor everywhere, right? And this actually, it's a French company, actually. They awarded the best and strangest new gadget of CES 2020. Yeah, it's the most expensive litter box you can buy. Okay, so hopefully you agree with me. Sensor be everywhere. That means unprecedented visibility about the data around you. But how about COVID? So COVID, basically, I don't know how about you. I've been locked in my home for a long, long time. And so I'm thinking about, okay, how can I contribute to the whole situation? So I'll show you something later. But actually, COVID, we can argue that we know it's a problem of public health, right? But to keep us safe, actually, it's about information gap. Because if we know all the information we need, for example, people, our interaction with people, the space has, where there are sick people, or high-risk people exposed to this space and make this space dangerous or risky, right? So on and so forth. If we have all those information, and then actually we should be able to keep ourselves safe. So the keep ourselves safe in this situation actually is a public health problem as well as an information gap problem. If we have enough information and we can be safe, and the companies, the university can keep operating and keep everybody safe. And how to get those information? Sensors, mobility is a very, mobile sensors play a very, very significant role. Give you that information gap. To fill that information gap. As a result, we know there are a lot of contact tracing solutions out there. But the problem is there are too many. There are way too many contact tracing sensors out there. So for example, I'm in Alberta, the great province of Alberta, beautiful, and lots of snow. I need to shovel snow after this talk. But however, our contact tracing system is not connected to the federal system, right? So I did a talk in June, and actually I did a very quick search in June or May, and I found, I don't know, more than 10 contact tracing solutions, but I'm pretty sure there are even more now, right? So when you have so many different IoT solutions or different sensor systems, actually, do you feel that information gap? No, you don't. You have information silos instead of you have the information to address the problem. And that's one of the biggest problem for today's IoT. And that's one of my research or my company tried to do, is to fill that information gap by combining different IoT, Internet of Things systems, the sensors everywhere, to put them together so that we can fill that information gap, and then to either make our workplace safer, more efficient, and you'll be happier about your job. That's the vision of my company. And location or geomatics play a critical role in that whole situation, because sensor information without location is useless, right? If you're contact tracing or social distancing information, but without knowing the proximity, the location, and it's not as effective, right? One room has been, exposed to COVID, and then it's dangerous. If you don't even know where's that room, it's useless. Okay. So IoT are siloed, so what, right? So think about contact tracing, yeah? If you don't know what's contact tracing is like if someone get tested positive and you try to find who and where this person interact with in the past 14 days, for example. That's contact tracing. And today, contact tracing is very labor intensive. It's very expensive. You have a lot of people, need a lot of people to make a lot of phone calls. It's very slow, and of course, there are many, many different mistakes. And a couple of days ago, actually in Alberta, the government announced that, right? They don't even do contact tracing for, they only do that for high risk, or, define what do we mean by high risk, right? But, that means if somebody, in some situations, they don't even do contact tracing. That means if you are exposed to high risk people, you won't be notified, because it's just like too many people. I mean, it's very labor intensive. And that's really my company try to address by aggregating these different sensor systems together into a single source of truth and give you the visibility, and you can run the AI to give you the early warnings. So that's predictions, and automate this process. So contact tracing is one example, but this is the other example. Let's go to a very more like a traditional example. This is one of our customers, screen, and it's for liquid hauling. That means you have tanks, and tanks are get full. It's a wastewater, yeah, getting full, and you need to get the water out before it's full, or you need to stop the production. Okay, so you have a person sitting in front of the screen and manage 2,000 tanks every day and try to predict which tank will be full and where is the tank, and find the best truck to haul that liquid, and then dispatch that truck to the right place to dispose the water with the minimum cost. Okay. Do they have the sensor information to make a decision? Yes, they do. The person sits in front of 4 different screens. So the problem is too many sensors, right? And a lot of herding the cats calling, and then try to figure out information and try to communicate with the truck drivers. And then at the end, it's information overloading, just too much information. So that person just like sometimes give up, right? So it's like, okay, let the truck driver to decide where to haul the liquid to. Okay, of course, the truck drivers and try to find the best location to dispose the water, right? So what does that mean? In some cases, that means the terminal facility, the disposal facility with the longest wait time, because they get paid $100 an hour just waiting outside. So as a result, those disposal facility, we heard some horror stories, right? They put the hot dog machine to attract truck drivers to create that queue, right? Not efficient at all. Do they have information? They do. Are they using that information to make a best decision? They don't, because they are in different silos. You cannot put them together. Okay. Okay. So that's a problem we're trying to solve. And right now I want to jump into AI. So what's the AI in all this, right? When you have those sensor information, and what can we use AI? So I'm still a professor, so that's your take-home message or take-home readings, right? Your bedtime reading right now. So 2 books, 1 article, 1 book. The book is Prediction Machines, and the other one is an article in Harvard Business Review. And then I'll give you a short summary about this. So what is AI? It's so hot right now, AI, right? So AI is artificial intelligence. But prediction machine was written by a whole bunch of U of T professors from business school. So they look at prediction AI from a very practical view, not a technological lens, but from a economist lens. So AI basically offers predictions, right? So if you use develop your AI, actually, you know, it's a predictor. So it offers predictions, and now it's getting affordable, right? Apple just announced a new chip and the laptops, right? So it's getting more and more affordable, right? And so in the future, when you look at AI in a news article, right, I encourage you to replace that into affordable predictions. So AI means affordable predictions, okay? And because AI is not new, it's just today, the computing power, the GPU allow us to do predictions more accurate, and then it's more affordable. So what do we mean by prediction? Prediction means take information you do have to generate information you don't have. For example, when you have a picture of a whole bunch of dogs and cats, you can run a deep learning and to identify all the dogs and cats in the picture, right? So you have the information, which is the pixel of the dogs and cats. And then if you run deep learning, you can count how many dogs and cats are in that picture or in a video, right? And then that's the information you don't have. And today, without AI, can you get that information? Yes, you can. You can have a person and look at the picture and start counting. But AI replaced that. You can have the AI to do that automatically using computers. And today is getting affordable. So for example, a less obvious prediction is classification, for example. You have a picture of a CT scan, for example, or MRI. And then you typically you need doctors to look at the image and identify, okay, the possible tumors. And then to identify that. But the AI way means you have the AI to identify those tumors. They are good or bad and have a confidence level, right? A prediction. So even humans, right? When we look at picture, it said, oh, these are dogs and cats. It's still a predictor. I predict that's a dog, that's a cat. And do we make mistakes? Sometimes we do, right? A dog, yeah, if you watch those cat videos on YouTube, right? the cat looks like a dog, right? They're very funny. So I wish I'm in the room, you should laugh right now, right? So, and then, so that's AI, right? So make predictions from taking the information you do have and generate information you don't have. And a significant amount of information feeding into AI are from the sensors in the future, okay? Today, even today, are from the sensors. And then there's something called IoT Canvas or AI Canvas. I really like this. So here you get the information from sensors, right? A picture is from sensor, right? You have from SCADA systems, from drones, and then with location data. And we talk about it, right? Sensor information without location is useless. And you have an AI to make a prediction. And so what? When you make a prediction, let's use a tumor example. You have a tumor, a whole bunch of pictures, and then identify the tumors, right? Good ones and bad ones. And so what? You need a human judgment. A doctor still need to look at the prediction and to make a judgment. So the definition of judgment is the risk of not doing it. Okay, you look at the picture and AI tell you, okay, this might be a tumor, 80%, a bad one, 80%. And the doctor make a judgment. He's like, what should I do about it? Should we operate? Okay, remove the tumor. And then that's a human judgment. So AI, in this view, is not so scary anymore. It's help you to do those repetitive tasks to make predictions so that humans to make a judgment, to do an operation, to cut that tumor or not. And you still have the human. And then you have the tasking. Tasking means you have the prediction, you make a judgment, it's like, let's do it, right? And then you have a task like operation, or you dispatch a truck, or you decide to fix that machine, okay? And then you have outcomes. Outcome means you cut the tumor out, and then what's the outcome? Right, good, bad. You decide to dispatch, and what's the financial outcome? How much money you spend, and then you decide not to repair. Right, for example, you predict that compressor is going to fail with 51% will fail in the next day. is at 51%. Fix them, each trip will cost me $5,000, right? And if you make a decision, it's like, okay, don't go and don't fix it, okay? And then there'll be outcome, either yes or no, right? It failed or not. And then the outcome back to a learning model and improve your prediction for next time. So I strongly recommend you actually, if you look at AI or your operation, or you think about start a business, and use this canvas. Okay, so look at the workflows of what you try to do, try to empower, and then see which task can be replaced by AI, which is prediction. So which prediction you want to replace human with AI, and so the humans can make an intelligent judgment, and you can make it, better and better, and repeat and rinse and repeat. For example, I really like this model, just to share with you. However, so what? So let's imagine you have this AI, okay, and you have a dial for this AI. You can crank it up, right? Because not every AI is so accurate, right? But actually, the thing is, it doesn't have to be very accurate, and it can change, it can disrupt your business or your workflow, right? And that's the true potential of AI. So think about it. You have an AI and crank that AI into very, very accurate, or doesn't have to be very accurate to a certain degree. And what's going to happen? Okay. How many of you buy stuff from Amazon? Raise your hand. Dr. Song, you must buy something on Amazon, right? Right now, my home is like every day like Christmas, right? Just filled with the boxes from Amazon, right? So does Amazon recommend what you should buy from Amazon, right? It try to guess. It try to guess what are you going to buy next time. So how accurate is the guessing right now? It's called recommendation engine, by the way, right? It's called recommendation engine. There's an algorithm behind that, right? Or Netflix, right? Try to guess which movie you're gonna watch next time. But how accurate is Amazon prediction? 10%, 20%, 30%, maybe 20%. Yeah, maybe 20%. So let's crank that AI and make it like more accurate, right? So that's let's say if we crank that AI, let's say 60% is more accurate, right? It doesn't have to be 100%, 60% accuracy. And it will totally change how they operate. So for example, today, the workflow of Amazon is you go to amazon.ca, you shop, and then you order, and they ship it to you, and you receive it, okay? And you can return later, okay? So shop, ship, receive. But what if their accuracy of recommendation is better? It will change workflow into you ship, and you receive it, and you shop. What does that mean? That means they ship, if it's accurate, let's say 60% accurate, that means the 10 items, they ship it to you, and you'll keep 6, and you return 4, okay? So it can change the way you shop from shop, receive, and ship to ship, receive, and shop. So every day you open the door, it's like Christmas, and you decide which one to keep, and then you have a big box, and it's Amazon return, okay? So what does that mean? If they are able to use AI to make that happen, and that means, do you still need to go to Costco or Walmart? You don't, because every day you open your door, it just like predict what are you going to buy? And it's called dynamic shift. It totally changed that organization, how they compete with others, and change how we shop, okay? And then if they can change that, the AI, it just need to be 60% accurate, and it totally just destroy Costco and Walmart because it block all the competition away. And that's a real power of AI, is to change that, right? Of course, Amazon filed a patent about that, right? It's called anticipatory shipping. So ship it before you even decide to buy. Okay, so we don't know it's going to happen or not, right? But I strongly encourage you to think about what you do, or if you have a business idea, okay, that's what makes investors excited. It totally changed the market dynamic. For example, like the liquid hauling example I just mentioned, you have a person to order the truck to haul the liquid. What if the truck arrived before the dispatcher even order the truck, right? You have the truck, and then you have this liquid hauling truck. You arrive at the water disposal site. The moment they need to order, right, before they need to order, and you said, you know what, I'll give you 10% discount. Okay, what are you gonna do? I think they will get the business, right? And they block all their competitors away. Think about it. Uber car, before you call Uber, an Uber car show up at your door and said, I'll give you 5% discount, right? It's like, wow. Do you think that's gonna, that means you can totally block everybody else. Lyft will be out of business. Taxi, of course, they're out of business already, right? So this is the power of AI and IoT. By knowing the location and the sensor information, and you use that to make your prediction, and then you can change that market dynamic. How about for firefighters, the digital assistant? So that means like a Siri for firefighters. It warned the firefighters before flashover. Flashover is like, right? And then it's very dangerous, right? And what if you have digital assistant for everybody, for example, just for firefighters? It warned the firefighter before dangerous things are gonna happen. And we push it to extreme. There won't be any death for firefighters anymore because you have the AI to help them, right? It's a little bit extreme, but we are moving to that direction. And by the way, one of our project is working with NASA JPL. There is a digital assistant called Audrey. So that's the assistant for firefighters. How about you dispatch inspection and repair for the very expensive equipment before they fail? So equipment will never fail again. And you won't have unnecessary trip, because today, how does it work is they have the routine inspections. So they don't know when it's gonna fail, so there's routinely go to inspect, and those trips are very expensive. So it's our vision, the company. We want to be a fabric, interconnect the world's IoT data, all sensor data, because I told you, right? I share with you, information gap is the problem. We want to fill that information gap for the sensor data and empowering the connected workers of the future, including both the office worker and the field worker. For example, like truck driver is a field worker, you have the office worker, dispatcher. So make them work seamlessly together, apply automation, and drive safety, productivity, and most importantly, the job satisfaction forward. So, during this COVID situation, right, I was like, oh, the frontline workers, they have to go out. We are lucky we stay at home, we can work, but how can we make them, protect them and make their job more efficient? So can they spend more time with their family? And I think this is something we want to do. So I have some vision or predictions, okay? Just want to share with you, take home message. Everything will be censored up. So everything will be censored up. That's why we call this company SensorUp, right? So becoming smart objects with sensors and CPU in those objects and offering unprecedented visibility and automation. I'll show you a video about what we try to fulfill that vision. This is a product solution we did for address the COVID situation. Hi, my name is Steve. I'm the founder and CTO of SensorUp. In this video, I'm going to show you this COVID module we configured based on our SaaS product. Our COVID solution has two parts. The first part is a digital map showing real-time and historical activities and risk levels of workforces and workplaces. SensorUp is sensor agnostic, and we can aggregate data from disparate contact tracing sensors, social distancing sensors, cleaning activity reports, locations of health supplies, etc. With the live and playback maps as the single pane of glass, decision makers can plan, track, and respond to emergent situations. But not everybody has the time to sit 24/7 in front of the screen. The second part of our COVID solution is a workflow engine allowing decision makers to automate workflows by assembling real-time tracking, sensing, and AI-based predictions and trigger events. In this demo, we aggregate 6 disparate IoT systems, including 4 different contact tracing beacons, video cameras with deep learning AI, and video plus microphones for cough detection. Here, we integrate an AI-based virtual sensor developed by the University of Calgary. It is able to sense how many people in the room, detect coughing based on video and sound, and even detect the event when the person who just coughed touched the door handle. Now, you are looking at the real-time digital map of the meeting room we just showed you in the previous video. As the people entering the room, you can see the risk level of the space is going up. We can configure different ways to communicate visually the risk level of the space. For example, each room has a capacity limitation. In this demo, when the number of people exceeds the capacity limit, the space turns red. And when the person who just coughed touched the door handle, the risk level of the room goes even higher, and then the cleaning crew will be notified. And after the cleaning crew disinfects the space, the color of the 3D space turns back to green. All these events and sensor data are captured and stored and can be used for improving the effectiveness and efficiency in the future. The next vision, with IoT and AI, every process will be just in time. What does that mean? That means there's be no wait and no waste. I hate waiting, right? Whenever I see a queue, I hate that, right? So I don't like the Tim Hortons, for example, just wait so long. The wait is so long, right? But with IoT and AI, to fill that information gap, there will be no wait and no waste. So I'll show you a glimpse of that future. Hi, my name is Steve. I'm the founder and CTO of SensorUp. In this video, I'm going to show you the SensorUp liquid hauling solution based on our SaaS product. Liquid hauling is one of the largest operational expenses for oil and gas companies. However, the operators today do not have the necessary real-time data and AI predictions to make optimal decisions. Our liquid hauling solution has two parts. The first part is a digital map showing real-time, historical, and even future tank levels, fleet activities, and terminal wait times. SensorUp is sensor agnostic, and we can aggregate data from disparate sensor systems. With the live and playback map as a single pane of glass, operators can plan and track fluid hauling activities and receive early warnings before delays happen. But no one has the time to sit in front of the screen 24/7. The second part of our fluid hauling solution is an AI-powered workflow engine, allowing operators to automate repetitive tasks and workflows by assembling real-time sensing, tracking, routing, AI-based predictions, and trigger events. In this demo, we aggregate disparate SCADA systems, tank level predictions, fleet management systems, truck tank sensors, terminal wait time predictions, and travel conditions. With SensorUp, an operator can see a map that predicts where and when the tanks are going to be full and require a tank truck. The operator can also access a real-time map showing the terminal locations with their current and future wait time, their rates, and capacities. By combining these disparate real-time data sources and predictions, we empower the operator to make optimal decisions that minimize the trucking cost, wait time cost, and disposal costs. Once the truck has been ordered, the operator can also access the real-time locations and activities of the liquid transport. Before exceptions, such as longer than expected dwellings, are going to happen, early warnings will be sent to the operator for mitigation. Learn more about liquid hauling solution at SensorUp.com. And my third vision, or take-home message for you, is all preventable safety incidents will be predicted and mitigated before they even happen. Because again, when you have the information and then the prediction, you can prevent it before it even happen. And we did some early work with the Department of Homeland Security. Hi, my name is Steve. I'm the founder and CTO of SensorUp. In this video, I'm going to show you our situational awareness solution based on our SaaS product. In a situation where every second counts, every decision could mean life or death, it's critical to understand where your responders are and what situation they are in so that they are fully protected, fully connected, and fully aware. SensorUp is sensor agnostic. We can aggregate real-time data from disparate sensors, including wearables, location trackers, environmental sensors, or even drone. With the live digital map as a single pane of glass, a real-time common operating picture can be established and shared so that decision makers can receive early warnings and make accurate and informed decisions. In this demo, we connected to more than 20 different sensing systems, including heart rate, indoor location, outdoor location, fall detection, body temperature, chemical gas, ambient temperature, and more. In crisis, nobody has the time to combine high-velocity data from multiple screens. With SensorUp, decision makers are only alerted when there is an issue or a crew member needs assistance. This allows them to focus on making the decision that matters the most. SensorUp's AI and stream processing engine is able to predict risky situations before they happen, so that actions can be taken in order to mitigate the danger. After the event, all the sensor data are captured, can be reviewed at the hot wash, feed back into SensorUp's AI engine, and make it faster and better. First responder agencies also use SensorUp to protect first responders over the long term. Our solution can build a long-term health picture throughout the career of each team member with data from different stressors, heat and gas exposure levels, and injuries. In summary, by combining disparate sensor inputs with AI, we are able to establish a common operating picture, showing real-time activities and predict emergent issues. SensorUp also built a long-term health picture to protect team members. To learn more, please visit sensorup.com. So hopefully it makes sense to you. And then I want to bring the message back to geomatics. So what is geomatics? Hopefully you can see the previous demo or the thing, whatever I say, even the Amazon, drop the, if your wife buys something every day on Amazon and drop at your doorstep, it's about location. Location is important. It's critical. I would say it's important. It's critical. It's a critical part in all these innovations. So what is geomatics? Geomatics is a science engineering for locations, from the collection of location information and to the analyzing the location information, manage that information in computer systems, visualize that information, and use that to do decision making and eventually automate. That's geomatics. And it's critical in all the example I show you, the vision I show you, because without location, those sensor data are useless. So a lot of people ask me about the future of geomatics, right? So again, I have my view. I look at the startup companies, because startup companies are the tomorrow's Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Okay, so that's a look at as an indicator of the future career possibilities. And these are some examples I found. I know actually, some that I know them, many of them I know them personally, and they are geomatics is the integral, is the essential part in their business. Augmented reality or virtual reality, location is very important. Orientation, spatial tracking. So there is a company called RealWare. I think it's a Canadian company. I can't remember. We raised $120 million, right? Drones, of course, geomatics. Ask Dr. Song, he knows drone very well. And in this company, AirMap, they raised about almost $80 million. Yeah, they are future unicorns. How about remote sensing, Earth observation? Orbital Insights raised more than $130 million. And then Planet, okay, it's a platform company for Earth observations. They are the valuation for that company is more than $1 billion, right? It's they raised almost $400 million. Digital Twin, VRAM is a French company. It's a Burton company, raised $8.2 million and growing. Self-driving vehicles, just too many. I want to mention about it, just too many. And space, location is very important. Robotics, again, local Calgary-based company, Autobotics, raised $83 million in 2 or 3 years. Right, it's a robotics company, and they build the warehouses with the small robots running around. And how about web and mobile mapping? Mapillary, actually, I met these guys in Barcelona a long time ago, right? When they had only 3 or 4 people, right? They just left Apple. The founder just left Apple at the time, and right now they are acquired by Facebook. And the Mapbox raised more than $200 million. Insurance tech, the other French company, Arturo.ai, raised $8 million. Decipher Farming, again, a French company in Calgary, they are acquired by TELUS recently. So if you look at use this fundraising as a very biased, a limited view, but I think it's a good indicator about the future, where the future is. And geomatics is the core component for these future companies. The Facebook of future, the Amazon of the future, and the Google of the future, right? And some of them will be acquired by Facebook or Amazon or Google, right? Like Mapillary, right? For example. And I think we have a very bright opportunity. And then it's really a bright future, especially with the AI and IoT. I would like to conclude my presentation here. And I have a hard stop at 2 o'clock. I have a meeting, but I'm very glad to take any questions.
Thank you, Steve. It's excellent presentations. They're really exciting, right? So you didn't change it at all, right? One of the students from space engineering, the questioning about how space engineering can, get the benefits from IoT, how utilize IoT technology.
I think number one, although I got my PhD from Earth and Space Science, but I don't know really the key components of space engineering, right? But I would assume it's the what can I say? Let me put it this way. Okay, no matter geomatics or space, it's the future. It's about information. Okay, it's about automation. So if you want to contribute to that future, you need to get yourself equipped with this information to be able to fill that information gap and prediction gap. Okay, so study AI, study get your programming and algorithm. You're not afraid of coding, for example. I think that's the future you should do, right?
So I'm now start to receive many questions now, and one of the questions it is about the privacy. What the question is about is you're saying that you're sensor agnostic. I don't know exactly what this means because the sensor owned by someone or is agnostic for types, but the privacy issues wise. You collected all the data set from autonomous sensors, and how you deal with the privacy issues. Like how you're going to utilize some of the data set, but in the meantime, you also
protect the privacy. Yeah. So privacy, I'm a technical guy, right? So I think my job is to make sure the architecture can be applied to different scenarios to protect privacy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because there are some architecture choice, it's like, if you put everything in the cloud, you don't protect privacy because it's a big brother, right? You attack one place, you get everything, right? So as an architecture person, so engineering is about design, right? So when we design architecture, my job is to make sure I have the options. For example, for Department of Homeland Security, right? Security is super important, right? Security, privacy, that hand in hand, right? So we design architectures like need to know basis, right? We can have very fine granular, separation of the data sets, right? So you can really protect, in a way, rather than put everything in a big cloud. Yeah. So, but privacy itself is evolving. It's legal, it's ethical, right? In OGC, for example, they have a geoethical group right now, and because think about it, right? COVID really pushing the envelope. It's pushing the privacy boundary, right? It could be worrisome because actually when the situation is so bad, right? We couldn't even go anywhere. We kind of give up more privacy information, right? And somebody argue it's not enough because if everybody give out privacy information, you let me track. Actually, we should be able to go back to the restaurant anymore right now because all the information out there. There's no information gap. If it's properly used, we should be able to have a safe space. But it's not going to happen because it's nobody's going to give up everything, right? And also this assumption that people will use it properly, right? So again, it's a battle. So for engineers' perspective is, I think, to make sure your architecture protect privacy and protect security as well.
So I have a couple of questions regarding data format. One of the question is, what it will be, is there any common data format to bridge the information gap from multiple sensor? And the other question is about what is your vision with upcoming tiny markup language, tiny ML? I don't know.
I don't know what's tiny ML, so I need to study, right? Sorry. But for the common format, yes, there are common formats. But however, right, if you're familiar with like beta and VHS, right, like only people with a certain age know that battle, right? You have different format for the cassette, right? For the video cassette. And there are formats, they are standards, but which one will win, right? So web standard HTML, HTTP, wasn't the only standard to build a web-like system, right? But they won at the end. So it's really a battle. In my opinion, it's an ecosystem. So you need to have standard, but also good implementation, very good ecosystem, and to build that ecosystem, right? Like HTML, for example, it wasn't adopted very, very widely until the emergence of Netscape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you don't know the history, I mean, watch some documentary. Yeah.
Well, a couple of questions related to your business development and from engineering students and other people. And who are your competitors and what is one of your competitive advantages? If you do it again, when you do restart your startups, and what would you do differently?
Okay, let me answer if I do it again, I mean, what do I do differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will raise funding much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I will find more mentors. Okay, but again, you want to find, oh, by the way, for students or everybody, try to find mentors, right? You do not deserve. So I told my students, the bar is find people want to mentor you, and those people you feel you do not deserve. They are so good, right? And then you think every time you talk to them, it's like, oh, why you spend time talking to me, right? To find those people be your mentors. And the number one is make yourself worth their time. So, some people complain, nobody want to mentor me, right? So it's like, no, because you are not very mentorable. And so make yourself become, you can be. And so I will find more mentors. I'll raise the funding earlier, and then I'll start building a team earlier. But you build a team, world-class team need money, okay? So
Right.
build a world-class team around you. And what's the other question, sorry?
What are the sort of your competitor?
Oh, competitors. Yes. Yeah, there are too many.
Challenges.
There are many IoT platforms out there, right? So, but we try to find our differentiations. Our key differentiation is really geomatics, the geospatial focus, the real-time and movement data. And so we apply a lot, for example, a lot of trajectory mining, for example, right? And it's a very specialized area. Not everybody knows how to do trajectory mining, activity classification. And that's our secret sauce, right? Really the deep knowledge into space and time. That's our differentiation.
I see. Okay. Right. So well, I think this is from Professor Costas Armenakis. How do we guarantee seamless and continuous space to reference all the sensors to a common reference system?
Of course. Well, it's a complicated question because we need to also consider the performance, right? So because in principle, we have multiple reference system, right? So for example, for indoor data, it's not a coordinate system anymore. It's a topological space, right? So we do have multiple georeference system in our system. However, for performance reason, we somehow need to find a common denominator to speed things up. So yeah, that's how we deal with it. Quite practical, and also our architecture is try to make it cloud native. So in a way, which means there's no single point of failure. We really heavily depends on Amazon Web Services. So no servers, but a lot of those on-demand services. But also that means we're constrained by what's available in Amazon today. So it's always a navigation, careful navigation in those.
I see. Okay. Well, I think I have I take an advantage as moderator. Can I ask you something about you dealing with many clients and they provide their own data set, but your predictive model is actually the trained only based on their data set, or you actually analyzing them and generalize for predicting for everyone?
So for our customers, they own the data.
Yeah.
So they own the data, and then we do have discussion with them. In many cases, it's their benefit if we can put that together to train for a better future, right? But they make a decision because it's their data. So
okay. I think we have a couple more questions, but I believe this section is going to be closed by 4 o'clock. It's 2 minutes left. So if there are any very burning questions, and please leave. When Steve, I believe you have a time. It's a little bit after 4 o'clock, or you'll be
no,
around?
I have to go in 40 seconds.
Oh, I see. Okay, then I think I should close the sessions. I really appreciated Steve, and thanks for your times and giving a very excellent presentation, everybody. And likewise, and thank you, many of you who they pour out your time for attending this GeoTalk event. So next event is November 25th. Our second guest speaker is Dr. Kevin Lim in Lim Geomatics, and who's going to give us his startup companies and companies Geomatics Lim and stories to everybody. Okay, so thanks Steve, and thanks everyone. So hope I can see you, many of you, and 2 weeks after. Okay.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye, Steve. Bye.